Stand out or stand aside.
Be right with you, dears.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Devstream. This time we're talking about our next season coming to Apex Legends called Emergence, and it's dropping tomorrow, August 3rd. And like with every season, we have a ton of great new stuff that's coming to the game. I'm really excited to talk about it. And so I've rounded up the squad here at Respawn of the folks who worked on all the new stuff that we have coming. So we've got a few new folks that are here. So we're going to just do a quick roll call so you guys can introduce yourselves. John, let's start with you.
Hi, my name's John Ellenton. I'm a game designer working currently on weapons.
Robert West.
Hi, yep, that's me, Robert West. I'm senior game designer, and I'm here to talk about arenas.
Ooh, it's gonna be fun. Travis.
Hey, Travis Nordin, gameplay engineer / designer on the Legends team.
And last but certainly not least, Garret.
Hey, my name's Garret. I'm the level designer on season 10.
You're going to have a lot to talk about for this dev stream. Some big changes for the map. It's going to be awesome. Thank you guys for coming. So I think, first and foremost, let's kick things off with our new legend that has entered the arena this season. Really exciting new legend to talk about too. Travis, this has been a labor of love for you especially. So we have introduced Seer. Tell us about him.
Yeah, so obviously very exciting to reveal Seer to the world. Been working on him for quite a while now, and he's gone through a lot of different iterations along the way. Give a bit of context for how he works. His passive is Heart Seeker, which is a heartbeat sensor that lets him visualize enemy locations and hear their heartbeats nearby. So you can kind of, be in the area and scanning around, trying to pinpoint where enemies are, but not necessarily revealing where you are, like you do with Bloodhound. His tactical is called Focus of Attention. So he's got this heart chamber on him that holds these micro drones that is kind of his source of power. So for the tactical, he releases a whole bunch of them in a line. And then after a short delay, they'll kind of collapse and scan and interrupt anyone in there. So kind of a bit of a spicy ability there where we're letting you interrupt things that are in progress, be it a player being revived or using a shield battery or Phoenix kit. So I'm sure that will generate a lot of feedback coming our way. You can actually know exactly if someone is one shot or not because they'll have their health bars above them for the duration of the reveal. It's also our longest reveal in the game, I guess, other than a crypto drone that you don't shoot out of the sky. So they'll be scanned for 8 seconds and you've got those health bars for 8 seconds. So hopefully once you've found your target with the heartbeat sensor and hit them with your tactical, then your team can go in for the push. Okay, and then for Seer's ultimate, it is called Exhibit, and that's where he takes that heart chamber that has all those micro drones and throws it out into the world, creates this big sphere of the micro drones that then detect enemies inside, but it only detects enemies if they're moving fast or shooting a weapon. So if you're on the receiving end of it and Seer throws this out at you, you can stop moving and then he won't know where you are. You can shoot the heart chamber in the center of it and it'll actually end the ult, or you can crouch walk as well to kind of move around in there and conceal your movements. And a lot of it, I'd say between the ultimate and the passive is kind of figuring out where people are and then really nailing them with that tactical, because that's really, if you're able to land it on someone, it's go time.
So when Seer is using his tactical and his ultimate especially, and revealing enemies, is he the only one that can see that, or is he also revealing enemies for his teammates as well?
Yeah, no, he's revealing them for his team. So he's a team player all the way.
So he kind of fits right within that sort of scout class that we have. Of like,
totally, yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool because that's often such a big part of the communication is like seeing the shield pop and like, communicating like they're low on health or, their shields are gone. So man, that was one of the first things I saw in the vignette video where I was like, there's a health bar when they're coming down the stairs. It's pretty wild to see. It's very, very cool. Really excited for players to get his hands on him. He's really, really interesting and such a great like personality. And he's an artist, and so there's a performance to his work that he does as well. So as usual, delivering on the gameplay, but also just a really great new character coming into the mix.
Totally. And the animators really knocked it out of the park with that. Like some of his movements, either in his flag cards or just his animations in game, they're just really, really fantastic, really unique and beautiful.
Totally agree, for sure. More additions that are coming with this next season. One I'm particularly very excited about. I love it when new weapons come into the game. There's a lot of cool weapon stuff happening in season 10, which we'll get into. But I think first off, John, talk to us about the Rampage LMG that's dropping.
Right, I'm excited too. So this is the first weapon I've worked on that's shipping in Apex, so I'm super excited to show it off and get it in people's hands and see what they think about it. It's called the Rampage LMG. It's a heavy ammo LMG. The difference between this one and the Spitfire is it's a slow fire rate, high damage LMG. So that's kind of where it sets itself apart. This gun's really going to excel at the mid-range distance, and once it gets close, because of the slow fire rate, it's going to have a bit of a harder time. But when you do hit those shots, like I said, it's very powerful and very devastating. The other big cool mechanic about this is it has a charge mechanic very similar to the Sentinel, but instead of using the cells, it uses a thermite grenade. So you load a thermite grenade into it, has a charge time, and then once it's charged up, it's going to we're calling it revved up. And when it's revved up, it increases the fire rate. So it's got that versatility where it's really good mid-range without it being charged. And then when you charge, now maybe close range is a little more of an option for you. And there's kind of a cool little backstory. Like usually we don't have a whole lot of lore with guns. We do have, certain gun makers. But with this one, it's an LMG. So we thought it'd be really cool if this was a Rampart made gun. So this is our first kind of gun she's created and manufactured for the games, aside from Sheila. Sheila's the only gun that she's really made for, and that was just for herself. She does mods. So there are other Rampart mods out there, but this is her first real created gun from the ground up. So I'm pretty excited about it.
That's very cool and appropriate for Rampart that she'd make an LMG, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. That's
so yeah, if you're playing Rampart, and then she's going to get her passive bus with that too. So it'll be pretty strong in Rampart's hands, I think.
How does the magazine size compare with the Rampart LMG versus something like the Spitfire?
So it's not as high as the Spitfire, but it is an LMG. So yeah, that's a good question. It is on it's got a good size clip. We'll say that. So yeah, you can pretty much sustain that fire from mid-range for a good amount of time. And like I said, if you hit those shots, it's going to deal some serious damage.
Very cool. Very cool. Spray and pray is always my mission. And I'm playing
you can spray from range.
So I love those automatic weapons. And that is going to be just out in the loot pool. That is not a crate weapon. That's something.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be on the ground. You can pick it up right on the drop.
And what are we doing for weapons meta coming in, or balance coming in for season 10?
All right, yeah. So I think just like characters, we have some spicy ones as well. Some that, maybe some people have guessed out there. I'm not going to go into numbers. I'll just cover the large features, but if you want to see all the details, just check out the patch notes and that'll have all the numbers and everything. First thing we're doing, I'll talk about the hop-up rotation. So we're going to get rid of the anvil receiver, which I know some people are not going to be happy about. But the 301 and the flatline are very strong guns. They're very strong without the anvil receiver. They're extremely strong with the anvil receiver. We have marksman rifles now. We have the G7 Scout. We have the 30-30. We have the longbow. We have guns that fit that fantasy. So if you want a marksman rifle, use the marksman rifles. That's the main idea there. The next thing we're removing is the quick draw. It's just not a very useful hop up. People don't tend to like it. And what we're doing to compensate for that, though, is we're just going to include some of the perks that the quick draw has already into pistols. So it's not going to be quite as good as the quick draw, but they will be, a little bit faster to holster and raise. So we're just integrating into the pistols because they feel like they should have that already.
So what you're saying is we're buffing the wingman?
Tiny bit. Well, that's a perfect segue. So the new hop up that we're adding is called the boosted loader, and that's going to go onto the hemlock and the wingman. So what this hop up does is it basically has like a near empty state when you reload. We already have that in the game. You'll see a little pop up saying like reload, reload, reload. So if you reload when you're in that near empty state, it's going to give you a faster reload. And then you're going to get an overloaded ammo clip. So you get a little bit of bonus ammo on your clip. So if you can kind of keep that cadence going where you almost empty your clip, you reload, you'll get some bonus ammo, and then it's kind of like a nice little timing game. So the cool thing there too, we have some nice UI to reinforce that. So there's a little bar that comes up on your screen when you're ADSing, and it has the little sweet spot that you want to try to aim to. So we're kind of using this almost like a shooting trainer. So for people who like to shoot to reload, maybe this will teach you to be a little bit more patient with your shooting. So that's it for hop-ups. Now I'll get on to the crate changes, which I know everybody wants to see what we're going to crate and uncrate. This is going to be spicy for sure. First uncrating, we're going to take the Prowler out of the crate and we're going to put it back on the ground. But it's only going to be burst mode. So we're not going to include the select fire hop up. So no auto fire prowler on the ground. So we did a small tweak between bursts. That's the only kind of nerf we did to it, but it's basically what was in the crate, but burst only. The first gun we're adding back into the crate is this, adding to the crate for the first time is the Spitfire, which I think people have guessed. We've seen that on the internet. It's going to be the pre-nerf Spitfire. So basically we nerfed it throughout the last season. So for this season, it's going back in. So it'll have the increased damage that it was before, not the larger mag size that it did before. And then the last gun, so we're actually adding 2 guns into the crate this season, is we're going to add the alternator into the crate, which I know doesn't sound like it's strong enough to be a crate weapon on its own. So what we're going to do is we're going to include the disruptor rounds on it, which I know people are going to be very scared of, but it is a crate weapon. So there's not going to be as many out there as there were before. This is a modified disruptor round, so it's not quite as strong as they were in that scary season where everybody hated the disruptor rounds or loved the disruptor rounds. So it's a bit nicer on shields than it was before, but. So that's it for crate changes. Another big change we're doing is to the L-Star. We know the L-Star is very strong in arenas, but it's not a very strong BR gun. And one of its fallbacks is it doesn't have a great loot chase. It basically only has the 2 things to add to your gun. So what we're adding is we're adding mags and we're adding barrels to the L-Star. And so the mags are going to make it so that you can shoot more before you overheat. And it's also going to make it so that it cools down a bit faster. And then the barrels will be standard, what all barrels do to all guns, basically. And then the other cool thing we're doing is we're actually reducing the size of the VFX on the projectiles, because that's one of the bigger complaints of the L-Star is it's just hard to see when you're shooting, but it's also hard to see when you're being shot at. So it should kind of balance out a bit, but maybe it'll make it a little bit easier to shoot and to fight against. And then we're doing a little bit of a nerf to the EVA 8. It's very popular, very strong right now. What we're basically nerfing is the fire rate on the bolts. So each level will have a bit of a reduced fire rate, because when you got to purple on the EVA 8, it was pretty nutty. It was shooting really fast. That was a buff we did, but we just brought it down a little bit. And then the last kind of interesting change we're doing is we're moving the reload speed increase off mags, and we're putting that onto stocks. So now stocks are going to have a little bit more purpose. They're kind of like you pick them up because they're there, but nobody really knows what they do. So this should hopefully give them a little bit more meaningful choice when you're picking up a stock. Now you're going to want that level 3 stock because your reload is going to be a little bit faster. And then the other thing we're doing is we're taking tactical stocks off marksman rifles and we're making them sniper stocks. Again, it was kind of like sniper stocks were really only used for a few guns of the game. They're pretty overlooked. Nobody really picks them up unless you happen to be running a sniper rifle. So now if you're going to run a 30-30 or G7, you get to use that sniper stock instead. And that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Wow, that's a lot of really cool stuff. Man, alternator in that crate with disruptor rounds. I'm really excited to go try that because
feels pretty strong.
I should chime in and add that the airdrop in arenas will follow this as well. So that means Prowler can be bought, Spitfire and alternator are gone. So if you're buying alternator round 1, you got to have a new strategy.
It wouldn't be a new season without some map changes coming. This time, World's Edge is getting some pretty huge changes. Garret, walk us through kind of like what World's Edge is going to look like now for season 10.
Yeah, for sure. We're excited about season 10. It's the first thing I'm also shipping for Apex. So, I've been grinding away for the last year on this big update. So we'll be introducing 3 new POIs called Climatizer, Lava Siphon, and Landslide, as well as some additional rotations. So these POIs will not be additional to what's there. They'll actually kind of be overlapping and replacing some already existing POIs. So an overall goal is we wanted to retain the design philosophy of World's Edge as much as possible while trying to improve the areas where we notice improvements could be made by introducing fun, fresh, new gameplay experiences. So we're bringing another big goal is we're wanting to bring back some fun dynamic gameplay that was once in World's Edge with the trains. And by that, I mean, we're introducing some moving gondolas in 2 of the new POIs, which will be in Climatizer and Lava Siphon. So these moving gondola carts will provide a confined safe passageway for you and your squad across the threatening lava and the POIs themselves. Some of the biggest changes came up into the northern region of World's Edge. So Refinery has been wiped out by a molten lava crack and replaced with a much bigger POI constructed by Hammond called the Climatizer. So a big goal is that we wanted to attract more players to the northern region of World's Edge. So the POI is going to be a lot larger than Refinery. It's going to support a lot more teams and provide them with much more loot to fight over, as well as the layout provides a lot of interesting layered combat throughout the POI. And on top of that, the dynamic element of the gondolas provides a fun addition to it all. Another big thing you'll see up in the northern region is there's a big structure and it's a lava dam. Now, this is not a POI. It's not a title on the overhead map or anything. It's just a big lava dam that's kind of controlling the lava flow through that new molten crack that's ripped through the northern region. So something that's really cool about the lava dam, it's kind of like divides Epicenter and Climatizer, and it kind of acts as like this anchor point control point that has like an awesome combat relationship between the 2 POIs. So it's replacing that big, long kind of existing just slope hill that's there. So it actually brings a lot of awesome like relationship between the 2 POIs on each side of it. Lastly, up in the northern region, we also have the lava crack that I said earlier that ripped through the northern region that took out Refinery. So this extends all the way through the northern region and connects to the Fragment East crack. The big difference though between this crack and the Fragments crack is that this crack will not have the updraft airlift mechanic. Instead, it'll be traversable like all the other lava in the map, and it just inflicts damage to the player when stepped on. On to the second big POI change. So Sorting Factory has been swallowed up by a massive sinkhole from the seismic activities in World's Edge, and Hammond has constructed a big new facility to kind of just maintain the lava levels of the area, as seismic activity has created a big sinkhole in the area. The big goal we wanted to introduce was just an overall big, fresh new experience here at the POI. Overall, like break away from the traditional free-flowing flow that Sorting Factory provided and kind of just introduce some fun, new, unique overlapping fights that stand out from other combat spaces within World's Edge. And then just like Climatizer, the gondolas will also be present. So they also bring this awesome new fun dynamic gameplay to the POI itself as well. On top of that, just to talk about the sinkhole quickly in the POI, it will also not have a updraft airlift mechanic like the crack at Fragment City. It'll just also be traversable by the player, just inflicts damage when stepping directly on the lava. The last POI is Landslide. So this one's a little spicy. We kind of, after the big seismic activity on World's Edge, it created a landslide that just demolished Train Yard. So
And no one missed it.
and then so the biggest like goal we wanted to do with this POI, just overall just downplay it. And by what I mean by that is not necessarily say remove a bunch of loot, because the area will still have almost the same amount of loot. It's really just to kind of remove a lot of the structures for many teams to hold. We wanted to kind of be a more simple layout, something that just doesn't prolong fights, because we feel like the pre-existing Train Yard has a lot of prolonged fights that just allows players to just keep on cycling in and third parties and whatnot. So we really feel strong that this change is going to be positive, and we hope that those prolonged fights don't exist there anymore. Lastly, we have some new rotations to the map. So these aren't massive new rotations. We thought the northern region could kind of use some better flow up there, just around some of the pre-existing POIs. So we're adding a new rotation at the dead end of Overlook to provide a new option for players to rotate in and out of the POI. This is minor, but like we do think the community will appreciate it. And lastly, we're also providing kind of a new connecting rotation that branches out of the pre-existing tunnel between Geyser and Overlook. So it's kind of like this, it's opposite side of the cave of the vault door that's in there. So it's kind of just an additional rotation that lets you branch off and go up north. That takes you up towards overflow. And that's it for the map update. That was a lot. designing this map update was a lot of fun, and I cannot wait for the players to get their hands on it. Season 10 Emergence cannot come soon enough.
And man, poor like World's Edge. It's got to be like the most unstable planet ever right now. It's like every time there's a map change, it's because like an earthquake or a volcano blew up or something.
Hammond's got it under control, I think, though.
Yeah, you know, that's as they do. But thank you, Garrett. Really cool stuff. Very exciting, beautiful POIs. Next up is arenas. So we got a couple of things coming to arenas, and so we've got our mastermind Robert West here to walk us through that. So Robert, how is arenas evolving and growing for season 10?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, the big thing is going to be, we'll see in season 10 is ranked. We've had arenas ranked planned for quite a while and been working on that while everyone is playing arenas, getting used to the mode, familiarizing themselves with it, and getting prepped for ranked come in soon, you know. The rank system will be a little different from Battle Royale. In Battle Royale, we have 20 teams. In arenas, there's 2 teams. And so the rank system in Battle Royale, you have an entry cost, you get points based on where you place, and you get points for kills. Whereas in arenas, it's just going to be more cut and dry. You get points for a win, and you lose points for a loss. You'll start the season off by playing 10 placement matches. And after that, you'll get placed with your rank to start with. And but it's based on how you perform during those placement matches, of course. So for more details and all the nitty gritty information, check out the rank blog that'll go into how the whole system works. And in addition to that, we're going to be rotating out the Battle Royale arenas locations for season 10, the ones that rotate out every 2 weeks. We're going to keep with the 1 location per map. And so for Kings Canyon, we are swapping in Hillside, which is the area between bunker and airbase. On World's Edge, we'll be playing on Dome. And for Olympus, we're going to be playing on Oasis.
Very cool. And so for players, like, will this operate similar to the way Battle Royale does, where you'll sort of have your pubs that you can go play and ranked if you choose to? Will arenas sort of have the separate playlist work the same way?
Yeah, exactly. There'll be 2 arenas playlists, unranked and ranked.
Very, very cool. All of that and more, new battle pass and cosmetics and all the fun stuff that's comes with the new season is there as well. This is live tomorrow on August 3rd. So keep an eye out on all of our channels for news. If you haven't yet, all the blogs are live, how ranked is going to work in arenas, full patch notes, as well as all of our trailers. So make sure to watch those before we go live to get all caught up. And thank you guys for watching. My respawners, my family, thank you guys for coming and your really busy schedules. We appreciate you all so much. And be fun, have safe, don't die. All right. Thanks, everybody.